bent upon doing something and somebody comes and advises me, don't do that, I consider him harmful. No, but afterwards I find that that person was talking sense. So anyway, if you are perturbed by somebody, you can avoid them, but that also will lead to some very disturbing situations. For example, if you need to study, all this involves introspection, where actually you are placed. Suppose a person is doing something basically evil, basically wrong, disturbing others, and many people will definitely go and perturb that person, disturb that person. And if the person is going to cloister himself or herself, then that's going to be a very funny situation. So it depends on what you are actually, so you need, that's why we need these manuals, you see. If the manual says that you are right, if the manual says that you are right, then definitely you have to avoid such people. But believe me, they are not many in number. Very few people are there who are doing bad for the sake of doing bad. Very few people. So if the manual says, if you refer to the Gita or the Bible and it says that no, what you are doing is wrong, then some serious introspection is needed. But if the manual says that yes, what you are doing is correct, for example, when you leave the house, you become a monk, then the whole world says, you are a stupid fellow, escapist, you escapist and all that. But the manual says it's okay. So I go by the manual. So it depends on the situation. These questions can't be answered just like that because they are very tricky questions and depends on the situation. So if you find that what you are doing is actually true, there is something known as your conscience. And that's why Swami Vivekananda says when there is a conflict between heart and head, follow the heart. He does not say the head. Heart. So when there is a conflict, you have to follow your conscience, and then, but that also is tricky because I don't know what kind of conscience Hitler had. You see, these are very big issues. So if the manual says that you are right, then you have to distance yourself from people who are. Now basically Gita, where we have a practical relevance of Gita, is where it talks about this yoga karmasu kaushalam, but it does not stop there. It does not only tell me that you see you have to do lot of action, come what may, and you have to be expert and some kind of expertise in the terms of efficiency also. It does not stop there. It tells me yoga samatvam uchyate. It also tells me yoga is equanimity. So suppose somebody is not able to perform as you are, suppose somebody is underperformer, don't look down upon that person. Because basically, sutre manigana eva, Lord is, or the Lord or power or creator, whatever name you call or don't call, unified force or whatever, that is running inside every one of us, just as a string runs through the pearls of a necklace. Beautiful. So Gita does not stop telling me that you have to be a wonderful performer in the true sense of the term. It also tells me don't look down upon the underperformers. That means don't fire them or something like that. So yoga samatvam uchyate, and this is the balance. This balance we need to have in our lives. This balance of equanimity and dexterity. Dexterity not as we understand in the popular sense of the term, but as Gita puts it. And equanimity. So we are equanimous not to people alone, but also to situations. If I am happy, I rejoice, and if I am suffering, then I become morose, depressed and try to commit suicide. No. So this is the whole scheme of Gita. And Gita begins by talking about, the better part of Gita begins by talking about strength. It talks about strength. Shuddham hridaya daurbalyam. Your strength, the weakness of your heart, you throw away this, and Krishna, who is supposed to be God and all that, gives a very bad, he calls names, abuses Arjuna. He says that you are not, your actions are not manly, in the sense they are not showing strength. And that is how Klaibyam Masma Gama Partha. So you have become like a cleaver, you have become like neuter. Whole gender question in a different sense. Gita raises this gender question in a totally different dimension. It says that you have become neuter. You don't show any qualities of the male aggressiveness or something like that. And why does Krishna say this? Because just before all this Gita, actually we need to know a little history also. Arjuna was bent upon having this war. Actually Arjuna was very much for this war. And seeing the whole army, there are a lot of explanations for this phenomenon, but seeing the army he says, no, what is, if I kill everybody, then what is the fun in having the kingdom? Because nobody will be there with whom I can share the happiness, you see. And because I have killed all my relatives, I will have to go to hell. So what is I am not going to, it's a no-no situation, not win-win situation. Both ways I am going to lose. So what is the fun? So please pardon me, I don't want to. Gandhivams, all my equipment is falling down, I am not able to. Because anyway I know my batchmate has prepared better than me, so what is the fun in taking the examination, because anyway I am going to lose. And I am not going to get better marks than that person. So this is where Gita comes. That is how it starts. It gives us infinite hope, strength. It says, oh, you used to be an intelligent fellow and now you're talking like a fool. Don't talk like that. Ashocyan shochastvam prajnavadamscha bhashasa. You talk like, they talk, and now you are talking like an intelligent fellow. And you are sorrowing for those for whom you should not be sorrowing. You are becoming sorrowful for those whom you should not become sorrowful. Because this is useless. You're actually, essentially, Krishna says you're talking like a fool. So that is what happens. So Gita says, think intelligently, act intelligently, and now get into action. Get into action and have faith in your strength. That is the opening note of Gita, and that is how it starts. And with this, we have a psychology where we have seen in life there are two modes of action. One is an action which is oriented towards the exterior, always focusing on the exterior. What will I wear? How will I look? Unisex salon. I'll go, and what is that? Pedicure, manicure, so many cures. Curing yourself of what? God only knows. GOK, God only knows. Because you see, acronym, everything has to be in acronym. GOK. What is that GOK? God only knows. We were producing a album, because you should tell it album, no? All. So, music of Arati. We have this Vesper service in all of our centers. And one Swami who is trained in Indian classical music, wonderfully trained, he was also there. So this music director was supposed to arrange everything. He said, BMG, BMG. And Swami was in trouble. He said, what is this BMG? What is this BMG? I said, nothing that you don't know. It's background music. BGM. So BGM, so background. He looked at me like this. So background music. Why don't you say so? Why do you say BGM? So GOK. God only knows. So what cure? You are curing yourself of what? This body. It will go away anyway one day. If I talk like this, you'll say fatalistic. So, but that's the reality. But that is the reality. So, manicure, pedicure, this salon, that salon, exterior oriented action. Wasting lots and lots of money to cover yourself with lots and lots of paints. And there is, this whole thing is a big scam, I will tell you. Whole big scam is going on. You vote some people as Miss India and Miss Universe and then bring a whole kind of consumerism here, all that L'Oreal and that real, and was astonished. In rural circumstances where we are doing work, this fellow is L'Oreal. Huh? And they are dyeing all their hairs in different colors. You would have food to eat. Wonderful. So that is how it is. So exterior action, that is one kind of action. And second action is interior oriented action. Avritta chakshuhu. I understand that external orientation doesn't help me. So I orient myself inside. I try to self-diagnose myself. I try to understand the equipment first before understanding the job. What is this equipment? I am working with this equipment, mind and body, right? But what is this equipment made of? If I understand the equipment better, I will be able to perform better. Will you agree with that? So I should understand the equipment better. And that is what our Indian spiritual tradition is all about. Now I have done a lot of, now please save me the trouble because I have understood the trouble, you see. That's what I was telling you. You have to first become aware of the problem. Now I have become aware of the problem, and I was for the past so many minutes and more than an hour, I was trying to impress upon the problem, and if you are not aware of your suffering already, I was giving you enough suffering so that you become aware of. So now please tell me something, or let us share something.
At that moment, did Arjuna know that he was no more Arjuna?
What moment?
Arjuna.
At what moment?
When he started his Vibhaga.
Did he know that he was no more?
Arjuna himself.
Arjuna. Body conscious. Then? No, I didn't get you what you're telling.
The warrior Arjuna was a different person. What we see at the first chapter of the Bhagavad Gita.
Vishada, no. Okay, I understand. Means now what you are asking is, you see this warrior Arjuna, he was very intent on the war, and he came to the battlefield, and he suddenly was deluded and all Vishada, despondent. So at that point of moment, whether he was aware that he is a warrior, definitely was aware. That is why he says that what will I gain by killing all these people? He is aware that he is a warrior and he has come to kill the people. About his job he has no problem. Job profile he is aware of. Yes. Job profile he is totally aware of. The problem is different. Suddenly he becomes an underperformer. Yes.
Was he more concerned about the results?
See, that is a very complicated psychology. No. Because complicated word itself is complicated in modern connotation. No. What I am telling is, a series of, if you carefully see Arjuna Vishada Yoga, in the series of logical development, he produces wonderful logic to prove that this war should not be fought, which he wanted to fight himself. And when does that happen? When he sees his relatives. See, that is what, the people whom he respects, adores, it happens all the time. When we find our sons or daughters doing something which they should not be doing, do we scold always? Or do we do always the right thing? See, there are so many people who are well off and they find there are so many crimes their sons and daughters are committing, and they pull strings to get them out of jails and so that they are not punished. It happens all the time. That is why many police personnel are fed up, because they can't arrest somebody. Suddenly they will get a phone call. So, I think
he was aware that he was warrior Arjuna, but at that moment, was he more concerned about the outside or inside?
Definitely outside.
looking at
everything is unreal, so we have left nothing to do in life. It is the purpose of life. And if everything is unreal, then how we should look upon life?
Correct.
Very good question, but philosophically a wrong question. What he said was, if everything is unreal, then what we need not do anything in the life. So, and if everything is unreal, then what do we look at? What is the reality? Is that what you meant?
The purpose of life.
Life purpose. It's a wonderful question what you asked, but it is philosophically wrong for the simple reason, what you told me now is coming from a what we call a intellectual premise, and that is where Indian philosophy differs from all philosophies, and that is why Western philosophers don't call Indian philosophy a philosophy. They say it's just a theology, because in Indian philosophy, all the philosophies, what you philosophize you actually do. So this is basically an experiential philosophy. When you say the world is unreal, do you really perceive the world to be unreal? You don't. So
Some people who perceive it unreal. There are some people who perceive it as unreal.
No, I'm first telling you the basic answer, and then I will come to the philosophical answer. I will answer your question. So, you're not. The moment you start perceiving this unreality of the universe, illusion doesn't exist. You take a disc, have all the colors of the rainbow painted in different stripes, and you know this experiment. You just revolve that disc, it becomes white. The moment you stop the disc, you find all the colors. So optical illusion is optical illusion till you don't see through it. The moment you see through it, you have no illusion. So if you understand the unreality of the world, there is no unreality for you. You will see the real nature of the world, which will be whatever you prefer to see, because that again depends on what kind of. So from the Advaitic standpoint, this much I can say, the whole world is unreal. But you see, anything cannot be suddenly coming out of nothing. See the disc, in the example of the disc, there was the disc all right. There were the colors also. Only there was a change in color, right? You don't see all the Vibhaga, you see only the white. Similarly, here there is a reality, but I perceive it differently. I perceive it as so many people, I perceive it as so many buildings, lights, etc. But there is a reality of consciousness from the Advaita perspective. So when I understand this reality, then as you said, there is nothing to be done, yes? There is nothing to be done. All the Upanishads will tell, even the Gita will tell, that a person who has understood the consciousness, he has no action to do. But that person will take food and everything, because that person actually is, the body is doing the action. So for you, from your perspective, that person will be acting. But from the person's, the realized person's perspective, there will be no action. So this is what is experiential. For you, the optical illusion remains, for him it is not. There is a criticism about religion that we need to do a lot of imagination. Some people say auto-suggestion, etc. They say that you need to imagine. Now, there is an answer to this criticism, that if by imagination, we all the time imagine, like somebody is coming and greeting me, I imagine that that person is a friend, whereas the person may have an ulterior motive. We always imagine in our day-to-day lives. So, this term, imagination can be used for a better purpose. Suppose in the present, very few of us think of the present, we imagine about the future. 10 years hence I will do this, that. Or we think of the past. Even that is an imagination, because we don't look at the past as it was. Conveniently we look at the past. We remember only what we need to remember or we want to remember. So this imagination, like the latitude and longitude on earth, there is no latitude and longitude. There is nothing like that. But we have put it conveniently so that we can use it for maps, we can use it for navigation, etc. So imagination is used in spirituality when you don't perceive the reality, or when you don't perceive it as a second nature. We imagine, like I said, the Google example. When I go and sit on the desktop, I imagine that Google can answer all the questions. I don't know that, but I imagine and I have faith and I do that. Similarly, we now experientially, through our experience, we do not know that we have all the potentialities, all the energy and power to do everything in life, but we can imagine. And this imagination is much less harmless than imagining an enemy to be a friend. So we can imagine. So that's it. Okay.
How can we increase our concentration? It may be very individual. But
no, concentration you can increase by loving the thing on which you want to concentrate. By loving the thing. Swami Vivekananda says that putting every part of your energy, a whole of your energy into it, but telling in a different language, loving the thing. See, why do we, that's what, when we watch a movie, why does the concentration come automatically? Avatar, everybody is concentrated. But on the other avatar of Krishna, nobody is concentrated. Why does it happen like that? See, something is there. So, Gita, I just wanted to tell this, has one wonderful psychology also. A psychology which I have at least not seen so nicely and so succinctly, so shortly, briefly put in one place within the space of 2 verses. And the psychology is very simple. I can tell you that. Psychology is that our minds are attracted to objects, biscuitery. One object. When I am thirsty, it will get attracted, but it would, were it a pizza or something, the attraction would have been more. Dhyayato vishayan pumsah. Sangas teshu. This verse would have been taken here, is it not? So, but the verse was not told. Okay. We remember, forget. You see, suppose somebody were to come and slap me, believe me, I will remember that person's face for eternity. I will. But I can't remember these things. So that is how. Our nature is, all things are, all bad things which we don't want. So, dhyato vishayan pumsah sangas teshu upajayate. I see a jalebi, and I know I have read in all books that jalebi sold by roadside vendors are not good for health, blah 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 blah. And particularly in time when there are changing seasons, you may get flu, you may get so many things, but jalebi is wonderful. So jalebi I see, maybe my car is idling on a railway crossing and there the jalebi, garam garam jalebi. So, dhyato vishayan pumsah. Pumsah means people, persons, men or women. Now there is a lot of argument about this pumsah. Some people will say this is only men, and some people, the whole lot of gender equation coming. You have to, so much of gender thing is there. So there was a lot of argument about, Sri Ramakrishna said Kamini Kanchan should be avoided. So he said, oh, Sri Ramakrishna was women hater and all. These people forgot that Sri Ramakrishna married and he worshipped his wife and all. So basically, wherever you see in the scriptures a wrong translation as man, include women, or to be politically correct, understand that women is also there. So that please pardon the translator, because It's wrong translation. So, dhyayato vishyan pumsah. I am attracted to the jalebi. And sangas teshu pajayate. I am on my way to attend a meeting, but all the while I am looking at the jalebi, at the person who is frying the jalebi. Not very beautiful to look at, Maybe sweat is also falling. It makes it more tasty. So, I'm completely enamored by the jalebi equation. I forget about the meeting. I forget about everything, time, everything. There is no time, space, nothing. Everything. I go beyond everything. I am just concentrated. Sangaha teshu upajayate. Attachment of a very strong kind is produced towards the jalebi.